Hey, it's Ruby. Welcome back to my channel and to this very late January wrap up. We're gonna try and rapid fire through these because I've tried to do this several times. They're doing construction here and they've been doing it every single day, and we're just gonna power through today because if we don't, I'm never gonna get this video up for you all. And I want to because I had really good reads. I had 3 5-star reads, which is crazy. I have my book journal. I'm not even gonna pull the books again because when I tell you I've tried to film this like 3 times now separately, I gave up and I put everything away. And then I was like, today I was like, you know what? I have to do it. I have to do it because I need to talk about these books. I read 15 books in the month of January, which is definitely more than I usually do. I usually read 12 books a month. That's like my average, but I read more this month and I'm really happy about that. I hope I can keep it up. I'm not like trying to read 15 books. Like I read what I read and the number I get is the number I get, but it just happened to go well. Where the heck is my stats page? Here it is. This is what I was looking for. So I read 15 books, an average star rating of 3.7, which is pretty good, almost 4 stars. I had 3 5-star reads, 1 DNF. So the DNF was an arc that I had of a book that came out in January. I believe it was, what's it called? I have to look at my DNF spread. This is what I have a reading journal for because my little goldfish brain can't remember anything. The DNF spread, Witchcraft for Wayward Girls by Grady Hendrix. I was just bored with this book. Honestly, I was expecting witchcraft because it's in the title, and I got like maybe 30% of the way in and there was not even the hopes of witchcraft. It was just boring. So I DNF'd it because I have a lot of other books that I want to read and that one just was not doing it for me. Just ignore the noise if you hear it. But yeah, so it's a DNF for me. I don't regret it. Let's go through the 15 books though that I did read in the month. Let's start off with my rereads because I had 3 rereads. The first one was In Holidays by Christina Lauren. It's a Christmas book. I really love reading Christmas books. I have a soft spot in my heart for Christmas books. I'm typically not as harsh on the ratings for Christmas books. So I gave this one 5 stars because I really loved it. I read it, I think, in 2023 and 2024. So I'm happy about it. It's like a groundhog situation where she's reliving like the day over and over again. In her case, it's the week, and it's a friends to lovers book. But what I will say about this one is that it's very Christmassy. Like sometimes Christmas books just promote themselves as Christmas books and then there's no Christmas in it. This one had like, they were on sleds, they were building snowmen, they were like baking cookies, they were going to get a Christmas tree. Like there was a lot of Christmas in it, and that's why I love it. 5 stars for this reread. 5 stars initially. Then I reread The Paradise Problem by Christina Lauren because I was working on my end of the year content and I couldn't remember how much I liked this. Like I knew I really liked it, but I was like, is it top 10 worthy though? But I gave it 4.5 stars, same rating I gave it the first time because it's so fun. And the FMC of that, she's hilarious. Like she has no filter and she's hilarious. The premise of this loosely, because of course I'm not going to spoil anything for you, but we have our our main characters, FMC and the MMC, and they end up getting married because they're in college and they need housing, and there's no housing available. The only thing available is family housing. And so our FMC's friend is like, hey, I have a brother and he needs housing too. Like you guys should just get married just for college and then divorce. And she's like, okay, so they do just that. Then like 5 years go by, almost 5 years. They, went their separate ways after college, and he shows up at her doorstep needing a favor, and so they reconnect. And it is so funny. This takes place in like a tropical island, and I really, really liked it. 4.5 stars for the reread. And then I reread Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber because I read this a while back and I gave it, I think, like 2 stars, 2.5 stars. I did not like it. I was so bored. I did not love the characters. I could care less. could not care less, I should say, about this book. And I rated it really low, but I wanted to reread it and give it a fair shot, actually pay attention this time. And I did that and I ended up liking it. I gave it 4 stars. I feel like it's still a generous 4 stars because I still didn't love it. I don't love anything about this, the story, the characters, but I did like it. I did have a good time, enough that I want to continue on to the second book. So I'm really happy that I gave this another shot because, you know, it hadn't gone well the first time, but it was on me. I just was not paying attention. So happy I reread that. Now, the books that were not in reading vlogs, these, we have 7. So I have to have something on my face and I cannot get it off. I don't know what it is. It's like a little like, it feels like I have a hair on my face, but I don't think I do. I don't know what it is. Anyway, Lights Out by Nevessa Allen. A dark romance book. It's like a funny dark romance book. Everybody was reading this. Everybody was raving about it, saying it was like the best thing ever. It was so funny. It was so fun. And it did have dark romance in there, but it was like tame. I've been on a mission to like give different genres a try that are not like in my comfort zone. So that are outside of fantasy, romance, and romantasy. And so I started with historical fiction, didn't work for me, moved on to dark romance. I've given a couple of books a try, and I will say this is just not, it's not for me. And this book was not for me. I found it more cringy than funny. Like, it was not for me. In this, we follow 2 characters. One is a nurse, and she is obsessed with this guy who posts essentially like thirst traps on TikTok, and he wears a mask when he's posting his thirst traps, and she's obsessed with him. Like, she's thinking all the dirty thoughts about him, like, I wish he would just like come and freaking like stalk me and have his way with me. Like, she's thinking all kinds of things about this guy, and for some reasons that I'm not gonna spoil for you, he ends up doing that. And she's into it. And I was just bored, to be honest. The plot was stupid. The characters I did not like. So I gave it 2 stars. But that's an unpopular opinion. Everybody seems to love this book. I just didn't. And that's probably because I don't like dark romance. And it's not even the spice or the smut. Like, I don't mind that. I like that. But usually the plot for me suffers. And I don't find the need to keep continuing on with dark romance. So we're saying goodbye. Next up, I read Fireborn because a lot of people had said, like, a lot of people really hate when people like Fourth Wing. Like, they literally come for you if you like Fourth Wing. And when it released, a lot of people were saying, like, you all are stupid. Like, you all should read Fireborn. This is what, like, Fourth Wing was trying to be, blah, blah, blah. So I just ignored all the negativity, but Fireborn was so on my radar, and mainly because people were like, it's got dragons and a school setting. And so I was like, cool, like, I like Fourth Wing, but I want more of that vibe. So I read it, and I've got to say that I just didn't love it. I felt like it was not like Fourth Wing at all, and I wasn't even trying to compare it. This is a YA series, a YA trilogy, so that's already different. Fourth Wing is adult, this is YA. But I just felt like for a book that everybody was saying like dragons, and it has dragons on the cover, I did not get enough dragons. Like, where were the dragons? I felt like the dragons in this book were just like a mode of transportation and then became a weapon, and that's it. It wasn't like Fourth Wing where they have like this deep connection with them and they talk to them and they this and that. No, that's not what this was like. I did like that there was some politics that were interesting, and I did not fall in love with the characters, but I am intrigued with mainly the guy. Like, I want to know where it's going to go, so I'll continue on, but I just didn't love it. I needed more dragon. 3.75 stars for this one. Next up, Love Light Farms, a Christmas book. My first BK Borison. I have an arc of First Time Caller, which by the time you see this might have already come out. Which I haven't read, but I've heard nothing but good things about it. Love Light Farms is okay, but I hear that it is like her weakest book. People typically don't love this one. And then like the later books, 2.75 stars. It was fine. It was a Christmas book, but it wasn't anything special. I will definitely never reread it or think about it. At this point, I kind of already forgot what it's about. So I could go into my reading journal and tell you what it's about, but honestly, don't bother. Like, it wasn't a great Christmas book. Accidentally Amy, I had an arc of this, and I will read anything this woman puts out. So I picked this up, and I learned through the arc that this was a book that she was just writing in emails. Like, she has like a subscription letter for, anybody who wants to join it, and she was just sending out like chapters through the email. And then the publisher was like, you should publish this. And she's like, really? She's like, okay. And she did. And it was good. I liked it, but it was not my favorite. It was very cringy. The dialogue was incredibly cringy, and this is coming from a millennial. Like, I was born to be cringy, and wow, it was very cringy. But if you can get past that, it is kind of cute. We follow our main character who is starting a new job, and she's running late, and she's like, damn, like, I need my pumpkin spice latte Starbucks, like, get with it. But she's waiting forever, and she's like, I cannot be late to my first day in like a dream job. And so when the barista is like calling out Amy for a PSL, she's like, where the hell's Amy? Like, they've been calling her for like 5 minutes. And she decides, F it, I'm taking this pumpkin spice latte. She grabs it, turns around, and runs into this guy's whole chest and just dumps her coffee on him. She's like, I'm so sorry. They have an instant connection. And he's like, no, don't worry about it, Amy, because he heard. And she's like, what? And she's like, oh. And she's like, ha ha ha. Yeah, right. They trade numbers. She goes to work, and he's there. And, romance. But it was good. It was just like the dialogue was cringy. So just look past it, and then you'll probably like it. Because it was cute. Not like my favorite thing ever. I'm not rushing out to go buy the book. But if you like Len Painter, read it. Next up, Same Time Next Summer by Annabelle Monaghan. I have given this woman some tries. I read Nora Goes Off Script. I was really liking it until the end, and if you've read it, then you know what I'm talking about. It was infuriating. This one, I was like, okay, let's give her another shot. Her books are romance books that are really short. I was like, I need to make her work. This was emotional cheating. So I didn't love that. I do have an arc for her newest book. I will read it, and if that one doesn't work out, then it's time to let it go. I wanted to read Summer Romance by her because a lot of people really like that one, but I don't own it. I'm going to give the arc a go. And if that one doesn't work out, then I will be saying goodbye to this author. But I ended up giving this one 2.5 stars. Only because, like, I don't like cheating. Like, I wouldn't want my husband to cheat on me. And she's engaged. She has a fiance. And she ends up going home to look for wedding locations. And she reconnects with her childhood sweetheart. And she does the emotional cheating. She never goes and sleeps with him or anything like that. But, like, she's reconnecting with this guy. She's constantly thinking about this guy while she's standing next to her fiance. And I just hate cheating. Like, if my husband cheated on me, I would be devastated, second, enraged. And so to read about it, it's just not gonna bring up warm fuzzy feelings, you know what I mean? So there's that. Next up, the 5th season. I read this because Summer gifted it to me for my Amazon wishlist. Thank you so much, Summer, because I ended up really liking this. But this is funny. I started this over a month ago, and I thought it was so slow. I kept complaining on Goodreads that when is this gonna get good? I'm just like bored at this point, and damn, did I eat my words, because it was so good. It was so good. And it was just like the writing was impeccable, which I was already expecting because people have pointed out what an amazing writer she is. And damn, she really is. Like, we are switching from second POV to, I believe, first, third, can't remember. But we're swapping POVs, right? Like second to a different, and then we have actually 3 different POVs. We have Esun, Damaya, and Cyanite. So, you do have to pay attention. You do have to wrap your head around the shifting in the POVs and the perspective, right? The first person or second person, whatever it is. But damn, it is really good. And I felt like this was kind of a setup book, like intense world building, character work, so that now we can get the party going on the second book. But I'm not going to talk too much about it. Essentially, it's the end of the world. And it's been the end of the world multiple times. I mean, if that doesn't grip you, I don't know what will. But there's a magic in here. It's unique. It is complicated. It is a complicated book to get into. If you're not a fantasy reader, don't start with this one, because you are gonna hate fantasy. If you start with this, like, you need to be an established fantasy reader, at least to have your foot in there, you know. Maybe start with romantasy and then make your way to fantasy, because this one's a little, you know, high fantasy. So keep that in mind. But it's so good. I gave it 4 stars just because it does feel like the setup book, but I will definitely be reading the next book. Thank you so much, Summer, for gifting that to me, because she gifted me that one and Binding 13, which she is a woman of taste. Then Blood Over Bright Haven by Emma Wang. My first Emma Wang, and she's revered as being like an amazing author. So I was curious. I picked this one up. I did not start with The Sword of Kaigen. Why? I don't know. I wanted to read this one. Wow. 5 stars. 5 freaking stars. 6 stars actually. If you follow me on Goodreads, you see my like my shelves, my star shelves. There's only 2 books on my 6-star shelf, and this is on there. This was deeply personal to me. At the surface, we follow Siona, who is a student of magic. In this world, there's this unique magic that's like a mix of alchemy and coding, like computer coding. Super freaking interesting, super different, super unique. I really like that about the book. But Siona has been studying magic her whole life, and now is her time. She's going to be testing to become a high mage of the society. And that's like the ultimate position, like the like highest you can get within the magic world. And she takes a test and she does it. She becomes the first woman ever to become a high mage. She's super proud of herself. This is what she worked for her whole life. She gets to her first day to her office and she's treated like shit because she's a woman. And she's like, where are my research assistants? And they're like, oh, we couldn't get you one. He'll do. The janitor. And she is like enraged because she's being, you know, treated like shit. And then the janitor is going to be her assistant. Not only that, but the janitor is Quen. Who are the Quen? The Quen are people that immigrated to this land because their land was being plagued by something they called blight, which literally like liquefies you on the spot. So obviously they ran away and they immigrated to this place, but they look different. They have a different language, and people don't like them because they're not like them. And so obviously I'm sure you can draw parallels, and it just truly impacted me. I felt sadness that turned to like sorrow, that turned to anguish. I felt anger that turned to rage, but I also felt some hopefulness, some happiness along the way. This book made me feel emotions that I typically don't feel when I read, because if you follow me regularly, you know that I just don't really feel my feelings like that. And damn, it was so good. So good. I recommend it if you want a deeper, thought-provoking book. If you are someone with empathy, if you are someone that likes a unique magic system, this is for you. I will say some people complain that the FMC is not likable. That's kind of the point, my dude. Like, look past that. 5 stars, 6 stars. Then let's rapid fire through the last bit, because these are books that you can find in reading vlogs, which I will link up in a card and they'll be linked down below. Onyx Storm, I did a whole freaking spoiler-filled reading vlog. We don't have to talk about that. Go watch that. It's like an hour long, so grab a snack, grab a drink, and watch me like lose my mind. But I gave it 4.25 stars. It is definitely my least favorite of the 3. Only because in Iron Flame, I'm like taking out like 100 pages in my head of Violet and Xaden being like, I won't lie to you anymore. Oh, I can never trust you again. Like, so friggin' annoying. But I did like Iron Flame because we get introduced to more of the world, more of the characters that you're gonna follow in Onyx Storm. Highlights for Onyx Storm, Riddick and Auric. Loved them, especially Riddick. He was so fun. Watch that reading vlog. Then we did Bookshelf Ultimatum, and the 3 books were The Stolen Heir by Holly Black. 3 stars for that one. It wasn't as good as the Crow Prince trilogy, but I'm gonna finish off the duology, and then if I don't like The Prisoner's Throne or it's just okay, I'll unhaul the duology. Again, it wasn't bad, but Oak, the main character, Jude's little brother, is no Jude, and he's no Carden. At least not in this first book. Ren, I like her. She has potential, but again, I don't love these characters the way that I loved Jude and Carden. I'm not a Crow Prince hater, but I'm also not like, it's not like my favorite trilogy ever. I do like it though. I do feel like Jude and Carden are for me. Next up, The Fine Print, which is book 1 in the Dreamland Billionaires trilogy. We follow the youngest brother in this, Rowan, and he's such a dick. He's such a douche. He is so unlikable and he's so selfish. And I still like the book. 4 stars. Again, watch the reading vlog. And we ended with Laura of the Wilds, which is the only book that I unhauled from this Bookshelf Ultimatum episode because I felt so conflicted. I don't even know how to explain it, but essentially we follow Lore, who's a human living in terrible conditions, just very much impoverished, very much suffering. The Fae literally keep the humans in like a little town and don't let them leave. And at the beginning of the book, she ends up getting whisked away by the Fae to the palace because they have this magical library and they're looking for some magical books. But the Fae can't enter it without... So they're like, you're a human, you do it. Because they find out that she can read the human language and the Fae language. So they're like, if she dies, she dies. Who cares? So they force her to go in there and she doesn't die. And yeah, she ends up on a little journey. There's kind of sort of a love triangle, which was very lackluster. Like the passion was not really there. It was just such an underwhelming read. That being said, I probably will read the second. I think it's a duology. So I'll read it when it comes out, but I don't know that I'm going to rush out to get it, which is unfortunate because the cover for that book is freaking gorgeous. But that is it. Oh, no. My book club book. How could I forget? Because that was another 5-star read. Spark of the Everflame by Penco. They chose this for January, and I was a little hesitant because I was like, I've heard nothing but bad things about the FMC DM. That she's like the most hated FMC ever. Nobody likes her. Like, I DM'd this book because she was so annoying. I couldn't get past this book because of DM. Honestly, I didn't think she was too bad. At least not in this first book. I could tolerate her. I can see that she's gonna be an idiot, but she didn't bother me enough to be a problem. You know what I mean? And I'm so invested in this world, this magic system, the politics. What is gonna happen in book 2? The way that book 1 ends, you need book 2. And I heard that book 2 is like everybody's favorite. I gave this 5 stars because it's so unique. We follow DM, who is a mortal with no magic. At the beginning of the book, her mom goes missing. We don't know what happened to her. We don't know if she ran away, if she died, if she got kidnapped. We don't know anything. Nobody does. And DM is working as a healer. She's so unhappy. She gets entangled with a rebel group and with the prince of the kingdom. So yeah, she's kind of grappling with both of those sides, and she's also dealing with something internally. She doesn't know what's happening to her. Like, it's a lot, and I loved it. It is like a setup book, but it was one that I couldn't put down. I gave 5 stars, and I feel like book 2 could be 6 stars. Like, the series can be 5 stars. I don't know. I just really liked it. It was so fun. I definitely needed another fantasy world to love. And I feel like this could be the one, you know? So those are the 15 books that I read. We tried to rapid fire and we failed because I like to talk. But anyway, thanks so much for hanging out. Let me know what your favorite read of January was so that I can add it to my TBR. As always, if you enjoyed today's video, give it a thumbs up. It helps the channel out. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you soon with a reading vlog. Bye.